So one way that I know that the belief in rejection healed is, well, to put it bluntly, I quit seeing things from a selfish perspective. I don't think we realize how selfish we are in ego, but we really see everything from the point of view of me, I. And that died. I quit thinking about what's he doing to me. Why won't he love me? And the question became, what's wrong with him? What does he need? What can I do to help? The other way that I know that the belief in rejection was healed in me is because I've never experienced it again, even though you could say the opportunity has been provided. You know, eventually Laurent did leave. And his reason in his head, the head level, his reason for wanting to leave was that he did not want to be in relationship with me. In fact, my perception was that we were guided to be in a couple relationship, and we did, share a bed. And after a period of time, we went back to sharing a bed again. To me, we were a couple. But, whenever I would say that we were a couple, or say that he was my boyfriend, he always asked me not to use those terms. He was never comfortable with them. And eventually he left because he didn't want to be with me. If the belief in rejectability had been in my mind, I couldn't have helped but feel rejected by all of this. But I never felt rejected again. I only saw it as his mind, his need for love and understanding. I honestly, and this is the key word, honestly from my heart, not intellectually, right? I honestly only saw these opportunities for rejection. I only saw these opportunities as a call for love. I didn't see them as rejections. I never ever felt rejected again. I couldn't take it personally once the belief in my own rejectability was healed. It wasn't there. It's just not how I saw. Later, even after he was gone, the next person I was guided to invite to live with me was my friend Debbie. And when Debbie came here, she also had very strong resistance. And even though she came here because a part of her mind wanted to heal, for the most part, she listened to her resistance. And what she did was she would stay in the bedroom with her door closed. We're always doing things here. We're going here, we're going there, going out to dinner, going hiking, going to Garden of the Gods. And there's a group of people around a lot of the time. And we always invited Debbie. And she pretty much, with maybe one exception, always said no. And as the weeks passed, Jasmine, who really loved Debbie in the beginning, began to really not like her. Took a really strong dislike to her. And Zoe, who came and stayed here for some time, also seemed to start, really getting angry at Debbie. And one day, I don't remember how it happened, but it came out in conversation that they, Zoe and Jasmine, felt rejected by Debbie. Every time we invited her to do something, she'd say no. They felt rejected. And what was happening, maybe you can imagine this. When you invite someone to come and be with you enough times, and they keep saying no, it feels like a rejection. You start, assuming you're listening to your human mind, your ego mind, you start to get angry. You start to get hurt. You start feeling rejected because you think you are rejectable. And what I found out is this is why Jasmine did not like Debbie. She felt totally rejected by her. And this is why Zoe was angry at Debbie. She felt totally rejected by her. And what amazed me when they told me that is that idea had never once occurred to my mind. Even though I was the one physically walking down and saying, Debbie, do you want to, ... And I'm the one that she was saying no to. The idea of rejection never once entered my mind. I never felt personally rejected. I only felt like Debbie is hurting. So I know for a fact that whenever we feel rejected, it's because we believe we are rejectable. It is because of an unhealed belief in us. It has nothing to do with the other person. Nothing. And I know for a fact that if we allow that to be sincerely healed in us, we will see differently. We will never be hurt by the idea of rejection again. And in fact, we will respond with love in the exact same circumstances where before we would have been hurt. And again, the way Holy Spirit healed this in me was not, well, I'm going to say it was not a miracle. You know, it's called A Course in Miracles, and you could say in one way it was a miracle, but I'm going to say it wasn't. It wasn't really a miracle. It was an effect of what I was willing to do with my mind. Before, when I had thoughts about my own unworthiness, self-judgment going on and not paying attention to it, right? I had all this crap going on in my mind and I was not alert to it, and it resulted in me thinking I was the most hideous creature on earth and therefore totally rejectable. But Spirit just asked me to refocus my mind. And that whenever these thoughts came up about how rejectable I was, how hideous I was, how ugly I was, how much I hated him, how wrong he was, right? Whenever these thoughts started coming up, just to respond by remembering firmly that I'm only facing a belief about me. And like I said, I created a mantra. And all I did was be consistent with that. You could say, I no longer tolerated thoughts in my mind that continued to support the belief that I was totally rejectable. I just no longer tolerated them. And when they came up, I responded with my mantra. And as a result of that change in mind, there occurred a change in effect. Because you know what? The belief in our rejection has nothing to do with our truth, and therefore it cannot live in us unless we are continuously supporting it with our own thinking. And when we choose not to continuously support it, when we choose instead to practice in some way that reaffirms that this is just a false belief, this is not the truth about me, and we do that consistently, the belief, no longer having support, dies. And when it's dead, it's gone. And then we're free. So it's 6 o'clock, and I think that's the end of my story. I hope you guys heard me, because I know we're all the same. All right. Good night, and I love you.